Any archaeologist who works in the Maya area today recognizes, or at least should recognize, the unparalleled insights that local team members bring to the equation. Working with communities who have lived within and experienced the local landscapes for countless generations is a privilege. And so, when it comes to things like knowledge of various quarrying techniques or limestone types, it's critical that we center the contributions of our local team members to developing an understanding of ancient quarrying practices, as well as keep in mind the importance of centering their positions as stakeholders in benefiting from the information we join together to unearth. So important it's important that the modes of knowledge production and dissemination are accessible to people beyond the academic community, and thus creating animated films or archaeologically informed stories can help make our collective findings that much more real for audiences otherwise averse to engaging with the material. And so, as Celine alluded to, we're using LiDAR data as a starting point for some of our studies, some of which are presented in the special section, where there are quarries just everywhere permeating the landscape. And you can see a lot of them on the ground, especially in areas where the forests have been cleared for agriculture today. But other quarries are just completely invisible to the naked eye, even walking back and forth across the forest floor. So being able to use the LiDAR as a starting point to potentially identify additional quarries just everywhere in the landscape and be able to then visit them and look at them and examine them with the local stakeholders who are team members who may have not even encountered these quarries because they're so well hidden otherwise without the LiDAR. It's a very special and exciting new approach that we can bring to the table in quarry studies, being able to locate almost every quarry on the landscape, many of which are just so incredibly difficult to see with the naked eye.
Engaging with Maya and local communities brings two things at once. First, it allows us to understand ancient quarries and ancient quarrying and stoneworking practices in a much fuller way, because contemporary craftspeople still draws on forms of knowledge, technique, and sensory skills that can illuminate what we find archaeologically, and their insights help us move beyond what we see in the archaeological record. And second, it changes the way archaeology is practiced, as Ken mentioned. It makes us more accountable and responsive to the communities whose heritage we are studying. And by working collaboratively with contemporary communities, we are reminded that these landscapes are not only ancient sites, but also living places that continue to hold meaning and value for people. That means that the studies of quarries is not just about reconstructing the past, but also about recognizing the present, how knowledge endures, adapts, and remains connected to people's lives today. And I think that that's why quarries are such an interesting entry point for re-engaging people with the past. Everyone understands in one way or another the effort of working with a material like stone, of building a house, of becoming familiar with and shaping a landscape. These are activities that speak directly to people on people's own experiences. So when we study quarries in more collaborative and participative ways, we are also opening a conversation about labor, knowledge, skills, and the making of place that feels immediately meaningful.